3 days after the rebels' rout in Alma surrendered her earpiece, Ibrahim Traoré remained vigilant. His instincts, sharpened by battlefields and briefings, sensed a deeper shadow. Alma, under discreet supervision, had begun to talk, names, burner phone patterns, relay frequencies, aliases linked to the Red Slate insurgency. But when pressed on who issued her orders or funded the signal relay hidden in a faux humanitarian warehouse near Bobo de Lasso, she paused, not in fear, but with calculation. That pause told Traoré enough. Someone higher, closer, perhaps within his circle, had directed her. This wasn't a distant enemy. It was intimate. He moved with caution, recalling a near-fatal convoy attack in Kédougou 6 months prior, dismissed then as a technical error. Now, with Alma's revelations, those mistakes felt like probes disguised sabotage. Fatima Daira, operating under blackout protocols, scoured 6 months of internal logs for anomalies. Unauthorized file access, irregular metadata, duplicate timestamps. Buried in code mimicking legitimate activity, a pattern emerged. Someone in the National Resource Security Office had been copying Traoré's schedules and pre-meeting notes, sometimes hours before sessions. The logins appeared low-level, but decryption by analyst Malik Sangare revealed a name, Minister Yassine Traoré, the president's distant cousin, liaison to the Pan-African Infrastructure Council, a comrade from Sahel offensives who sat 3 chairs away at defense briefings. If true, this betrayal cut deeper than strategy. It was personal. Traoré kept his composure, smiling publicly, even toasting Yassine at a regional summit dinner that Friday. But privately, he launched Operation Pilgrim Dust. The plan: feed Alma, now a double agent, one final eye and track who acted. The bait was a fabricated rumor that Traoré would nationalize northern hydro infrastructure, stripping private firms and empowering local communes. A policy explosive enough to rattle foreign investors and internal profiteers. Alma delivered convincingly during a staged lunch, pouring tea, bowing low as a signal not of deceit but of testing. Within 8 hours, an encrypted file, Northern Assets Risk Exposure, urgent, was pulled from the Pan-African Infrastructure Cloud and sent to a Zurich-based NGO server. The sender, an assistant under Yassine's Biometric Security Authority. That night, in a map-lined reading room, Traoré confronted Yassine, handing him a printed data trail. This bears your signature. You played a long game. Yassine didn't deny it. With a weary smile, he said, "You turned this country into a battlefield, cousin. Some of us just learned to survive its shadows." He framed it as pragmatism, managing foreign pressures, but the truth was clear. He'd traded national security for personal leverage, whispering to both sides to stay untouchable. "You betrayed me," Traoré said softly. "No," Yassine countered. "I preserved options. But options in a nation at war bred chaos. People died." Traoré didn't arrest him immediately. Instead, he exiled Yassine that night to a secured house on the city's edge and convened the Revolutionary Ethics Committee. By morning, Yassine's role was dissolved by decree, his actions exposed in a national address delivered with resolve, not rage. "No one, not even kin, stand above truth," Traoré told the nation. "To endure, we must forge a future where betrayal finds no shelter, no matter its guise." As Ouagadougou lit candles for what social media dubbed La Nuit de la Vérité, Alma watched from her safe house, no longer maid or spy. Caught between guilt and redemption, knowing her error had unearthed a deeper truth, the quiet after Yassine's fall was heavier than war drums. Ouagadougou whispered of restraint, a leader who chose precision over fury, exposure over vengeance. Yet one thread lingered. Alma, the maid-turned-spy-turned-pawn who'd unraveled a traitor's web. Kept in a safe house, monitored but not caged, she was summoned one last time, not to a war room, but to a palace courtyard garden where Traoré's mother once grew basil and hibiscus. Alma arrived unveiled, no tray, bearing the way of her choices. Traoré stood gazing at blooming morning glories. "You hid well," he said, "but you couldn't lie." She stayed silent, caught between shame and defiance. "You could have exposed me," she whispered. "Made me a warning." He nodded, "and lost the witness who made the trap work. You led to Yassine to the warehouse, to Zurich." He faced her, his gaze clear. But you're still holding back. Who pulled your strings? She met his eyes, no longer a servant. They didn't threaten me. They offered future, visa, identity, a life elsewhere. All I had to do was listen. I didn't think I was dangerous. I was invisible. Traoré closed his eyes. Betrayal born not of malice but despair. The enemy had exploited a fractured system's cracks. "Do you still want to leave?" he asked. She shook her head. "I don't deserve to stay, but I want to mend what I broke." "Redemption isn't requested," he said. "It's earned." He handed her a sealed envelope. Inside, she'd find deployment papers, not for punishment, but service. A field role in Kaya, where rebel propaganda lingered and trust in the government was frail. As a communications officer with a community resilience unit, she'd listen, build trust, serve openly. "No guards," Traoré said. "Fail and you vanish. Succeed and you're forgotten. That's the deal." Alma took the envelope. Understanding forgiveness was a challenge, not a gift. She left Ouagadougou the next morning in an unmarked car, carrying only spare clothes, anonymous to a nation unaware of her. Traoré resumed work. Files to sign, military zones to review, new threats stirring beyond the palace. In a brief moment of stillness, he met his advisors and spoke plainly. "Our doctrine moving forward. We survive not by force alone, but by outthinking, outlistening, enduring. We won't become monsters to defeat them." Fatima, at the table's end, opened a file labeled Project Night Echo. Traoré didn't ask its purpose. He knew the next game had begun. Alma's lesson, of deception revealing rot, would endure. The nation would never know the maid who nearly betrayed its leader, nor how he chose mercy over destruction. But beneath the politics, a truth took root. Leadership isn't just neutralizing threats, but knowing which to redirect, and when grace strikes harder than might. Alma came to spy, but saw further than her device, deeper than her betrayal. Traoré didn't end her life. He reshaped her future. In a world of suspicion, he showed that forgiveness can be the sharpest strategy, and one act of grace can unveil the deepest truth. Thank you for joining this channel. If this story stirred you, subscribe and share. In an era of noise and deceit, clarity is defiance, and truth, once uncovered, cannot be buried. If you believe in a future where African nations stand united, reclaiming their narrative, stay with us. Subscribe and join a movement for truth, dignity, and sovereignty. This isn't the end, it's the beginning.